8 mwezi Septemba mwaka 2023, wakati ambapo tunaleta habari za asubuhi. Morning news every day morning here in Kenya News Alert TV, together with Channel 7 News East Africa. We'll bring you morning political development stories, current affairs stories, and whatever is happening here in our country, Kenya, local counties that we have, or the 47 ones, and even East Africa countries news, together with the whole of Africa news, and even what's happening all over the globe. I am Emmanuel Bosire, and today morning we're moving in to see, yesterday Raila Odinga was denied entry into Moko, where they are demolishing houses. Other stories include the red flags that the owners of Mavoko houses ignored while purchasing that land and even building houses, and many others. We've seen other politicians being investigated and found guilty of misleading the public even in purchasing the land. Now let's dive into this wonderful reading of this story in depth, so as we can understand what we have today for your news. Now here you can see the demolitions of the houses. Millions of millions had been invested in purchasing this land, building and constructing these wonderful houses. But less than 15 years of existence, they're put down by the government. What were the reasons? Now, Mavoko MP Patrick Moko is among the 30 individuals, including officials of land buying companies, former police chiefs, and land registers, have been summoned by detectives today over the sale and settlement of squatters on parcel claimed by the cement farm. We also see a day of drama as police block Azimio leader Raila Odinga from accessing the demolition site. See the red flags 1, where Moses Kuria's warnings. The 10 trade CS proclaimed in November 2022 that structures would be flattened. Number 2, lack of titles. So by lack of titles, so the affected residents said the only ownership document they had was certificates with a promise of title deeds by the end of this year. Number 3, relatively cheap property. A local remembered a time when a 50 by 100 plot went for 50,000 shillings, only 35 minutes away from the capital, on a motorbike in 34 minutes by the expressway. This was cheap compared to other plots. Number 4, there were various notices. The EAPCC has been giving warnings over the years in various forms, including on billboards. So this we're going to understand. We've seen that there's some of the key red flags that they had ignored. Other news today morning, we're seeing President Ruto pitches for SGR in King Africa's east and western coasts. So this is President William Ruto yesterday, who pitched a continental political willingness to expand infrastructure networks to Chinese investors seeking to appeal to Beijing to consider extending the stalled standard gauge railway, that's SGR, to be beyond Kenya's borders. The president's speech was the clearest hint, yet that Nairobi was seeking money to continue the SGR project built by the Chinese that has now stalled at Naivasha. At an investment forum in Beijing, President Ruto said he was held by discussions with his peers in Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Congo-Brazzaville on extending the project from coast to coast. Now, these wonderful news are bringing us a story where the president, our president is outside in Beijing, where he's looking for ways where our country can work together with developed countries, the first world countries. Now, the point here is that they want to extend the SGR, its operations to all parts of East Africa, including Congo, Brazzaville, and Congo DRC. Now, this one will increase its transportation. You know, when you have a good infrastructure, business are able to thrive, uh, development projects are able to move on clearly, and you are even moving from maybe being third world countries and maybe moving and improving to better world countries. We've also seen earlier the red flags, 5 red flags that the owners and buyers, those ones who had invested in Moko land scheme, had ignored. Up to now, there's something that we're seeing, the houses being deconstructed and being flattened. One, the CS, Moses Kuria, had warned them in November 2022, telling them that the houses were to be brought down, something they ignored and did not move on. And number two, they bought the land at cheap property. It's remembered that at time they were buying 50 by 100 piece of land at only 50,000 shillings. Something maybe thought seemed to be interesting to the buyers, and they bought it, and today they are counting the losses. So these are some of the red flags that we need to understand, or you as an individual, you need to understand when you want to purchase a land. You first have to do a thorough investigation to make sure where are you buying it, who is the real owner, up to when, and where's the title deed. So these are some of the red flags that they ignored that has costed them millions of shillings. Now let's move on and see more about these red flags. Now, Kisi churches. What are Kisi churches trying to do? They are saying they are being taxed. They're being taxed, overtaxed. And they want not to pay the tax. Now, Kisi churches protest at bid to tax them for overnight prayers. Now, initiative by leaders is a betrayal of voters who put them in power, the clerics claim. Now, pastors in Kisii County are in arms over plans by the county government to tax churches that hold night vigil prayers, commonly known as Kesha. The County Finance Bill 2023, which has already been passed by the Kisii County Assembly, proposes that churches wishing to hold Keshas will have to pay 5,000 shillings per week. The proposed law further says that any preacher who takes to the streets to spread the gospel will have to part with 2,000 per week to be allowed to minister to public. The fee is even higher for preachers who use loudspeaker-equipped vans, who will have to fork out to 8,000 a week. A few days after the bill was passed, some of members of the cleric criticized the county leadership for introducing levies on keshas and crusades, which they said had never been done before. The chairman of the Kisii Pastors and Clergy Forum, Mr. Lawrence Nyanuga, has described the decision as unfortunate and urged Governor Simbarati not to assent to the bill without a review of the issues affecting them. Now, they want to reach many souls. They have now turned against us and they are imposing levies on us. But when they were seeking leadership positions, they asked us to pray for them and urged our members to support them. Now, we're seeing here what's happening in Kisii County is that the leadership of Kisii County administration has, through the finance bill, introduced a way of creating more revenue for the county government. This is by introducing taxes on the prayer nights. So if you want to have a prayer night in Kisii County, you must have to pay 5,000 shillings to the county assembly. And number two, if you want to have a crusade or even a soul reaching campaign, you want to pay more money, including depending on the equipment that you have and even the mode of transportation that you're going to use, whereby you'll be required to pay up to 8,000 shillings. something that the clergy men have not accepted it easily. I don't know why. Our elder will be guiding us, Danyamwea. Why are they asking the Kisii County introducing this something that we've not experienced? You pay for night prayers. If you want to have night keshas, you want to pay for 5,000 shillings. And if you are using equipment that needs transportation and everything, you want to pay 8,000 shillings. Pastors are saying that when politicians were campaigning, they were telling them, pray for us, pray for us. And when they have been prayed for, they are bringing laws that are even making their lives to be more unbearable. We don't know what will be happening, but let's wait and see what will be moving on. Now, moving on, their chairman, moving on to understand and see what's happening here. What faces the road builders? You remember Kabura? Now, Josephine Kabura at the Milimani Law Courts. Now, this is Josephine Kabura, who is at the Milimani Law Courts, who've been fined, who's trending in the courses of NYS. Now, during the hearing of the 781 million National Youth Service case, now this is money that was lost. A former devolution principal secretary, Peter Mangiti, walked free in the 791 shilling million National Youth Service NYS case. Key suspect, Ms. Josephine Kabura, has been put on her defense, with the court citing glaring omissions and gaping holes in the case. In a detailed ruling of the Milimani on the no case to answer, Milimani Law Courts Magistrate Wendy Micheni took issue with the failure by a star witness, Kirinyaga Wavana Anne Waiguru, to testify in the case. Ms. Waiguru, the chairperson of the Council of Governors, was at the time the devolution cabinet secretary when the scandal happened. She did not testify in the case. The second-term governor was the key witness. Ms. Waiguru's failure to testify led to the collapse of the case involving her former PS Mangiti, former NYS director Nelson Githinji, and businessman Ben Gethi. The court adjourned the matter several times and gave a period of the prosecution. Now, the evidence is that 25 transactions in which key suspect Josephine Kabura reportedly withdrew the cash between December 2014 and 2015. Now, key suspect Kabura put on her defense in this NYS case. Now, we know the NYS case. This trended in our country, very, very popular. So, about 800 million shillings was lost from the NYS department. So then the devolution secretary, Anne Waiguru, the current governor and chair of council, was the key witness of the key suspect. And then here we have Josephine Kabura, who more than 25 transactions of the purported 800 million were featuring her name. We've seen the cases been going on since then up to now, and what's happening is that she has found a way to defend herself, and the court ruling is still being waited to be found out and what will be happening. Now we're moving on to this other news. We have this wonderful morning. We have news from ODM. What's happening in ODM? What's happening in ODM as Raila pushes for an overhaul of ODM elections board? So there is an investigation. It's asking for an investigation. Now, Orange Democratic Movement, that's ODM, leader Raila Odinga is pushing for a thorough investigation of the party's National Elections Board as he begins to revamp the outfit in readiness for the 2027 polls. The party is said to have resolved to kick out the current officials before installing another team to supervise its grassroots elections scheduled for the first quarter of next year. The decision was made last week when the party had a National Executive Council meeting amid blame games over bungled party primaries in 2022 polls. Some of the board members are also said to be engaged in other jobs, denying them for party activities. We agreed the board needs to be reconstituted. We are looking for new commissioners and will announce the new board when the process is done. That is according to Sifuna. Now, we think here that ODM, that's Orange Democratic Movement, leader Raila Odinga, are saying that there was going to be an investigation on the ODM leadership board. Now, this is after the complaints that it failed to deliver in the 2022 presidential election campaign and majority of the seats that ODM lost, terming it to be not hard work done by the team and by the leadership of ODM officials. Now, next year, they're going to have grassroots elections, ODM leadership all over the country. And before then, they want to change their leadership so that the entire board can be removed and bringing in new leadership as a way to continue helping the party to face its competitors. That's UDA, United Democratic Alliance of President William Ruto. Now, the UDA are going to have the elections come the end of this year, that's December, grassroots elections for various leadership positions all over the country. And now moving forward, ODM will also be doing their elections early next year. These are two, remember that the longest popular party as a country is ODM. Since its birth up to today, the good leadership that has been offered by Raila Odinga has kept it moving. Now that he wants to exit the political stage, he wants to make sure that he leaves the house in order. The other day, he gave a hint that come 2027, either him or Kalonzo Musyoka will be facing the President William Ruto in defending his seat. But he said that he has given hints that he's going to leave it for Kalonzo Musyoka. We don't know what will be happening. You know, in politics, there's a lot of political betrayal. So when you get your paper today, you'll be reading more about this wonderful story, what will be happening in the ODM leadership, grassroots campaign, UDA, and more others. Now, let's move on and see the next page, what news has for us. Now, we're seeing the Mavoko land. We've been bringing this news. Now, we have an MP, police officer, that have been called for questioning over Mavoko land. So, by the DCI. So, the DCI has summoned 30 people who include an MP and top police chiefs and land registrars. Now, we can see this picture here. So, it's a group of women who are carrying scrap metal. Where did they get it from? From the scavenged, from demolished building on EAPCC land in Mavoko. Now, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, known as DCI, has summoned Mavoko MP Patrick Makau alongside several senior police officers for questioning over the controversial East African Portland Cement Company, that's EAPCC land, where demolitions are ongoing. Apparently, bowing to public pressure to prosecute culprits behind the land scam, the DCI has summoned 30 people, including the MP and top police chiefs who have served in Mavoko sub-county since 2014, as well as officials from the Ministry of Lands, to appear at its Kiambu Road headquarters today. The DCI is aware of the recent High Court ruling on EAPCC, which confirmed its ownership of the disputed Moko land. There is credible information that some of the people being evicted are innocent buyers who fell victim of the fraudsters, DCI said in a statement. Now, Mr. Makau topped the list of those summoned, insisting on his innocence yesterday. The MP pledged to honor the summons, saying he would be vindicated. Ms. Makau attempted to address the evictees on Monday, but was chased away by police officers who tear-gassed him. He condemned the incident. Also summoned our former deputy police commissioners, Charles Ombugu, David Juma, and Geoffrey Omondi, former Mavoko sub-county police commanders Kizito, and many more others. Now, a detective attached to DCI and who is aware of the ongoing investigations spoke to Nation in confidence, as he is not authorized to speak to the press, said the officers would shed light on what they did when they were received complaints about land issues in Athi River. They are supposed to shed light on what efforts they made when they have received persistent complaints that land was being grabbed, said the source. Now, complaints have been made continuously to officials since 2015, but sale of the land has continued unadapted, and many more others. Now, we're seeing what's happening in Mavoko, where land is being demolished. Houses are being demolished and being put down. Now, the area MP and the chiefs who've been serving it since 2014, 2015, who were being reported the land is being grabbed at Mavoko, the company's property. What did they do? So these are some of the things the DCI called them to write their statements, to give the information of what they have been doing. So the DCI have done a thorough investigation about this land scam, and they've realized that this land scam was helped by the area MP who assisted in grabbing of this land, who we saw him trying to address those who are being evicted, who are innocent buyers. So this is the badness with Kenyans. You are very innocent, but because of ignorance or mistake that you were put into by a few individuals, have made it possible. So if you want to understand more about the story, you can be getting this paper and continue reading it. Moving on, we're seeing the red flags. Now, the red flags that they ignored. The red flags that they ignored before getting this land. One of the clearest red flags signaling that EAPCC land dwellers could lose their assets emerged in November last year. It came from the then Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, and it had the words, "Start moving tonight," in it. Do you want me to bow to the few thousand of people, squatters, or do you want me to look at hundreds of thousands of people who will give jobs right here? Now, questioned Mr. Kurua as he spoke on November 8, 2022 at the EAPCC premises. I want to tell squatters, I know you are irresistible force, but in me, you will find an immovable object. I want NYS to start digging trenches right here. No 1 centimeter of Portland land will be grabbed anymore. If Moses Kuria can't fix the issue of squatters in Kenya, who will? So this is one of the red flags that he had talked about. But again, we have a way whereby you can avoid falling victim. So if you want to avoid being a victim of the land grabbing, as we've been seeing, there are things that you need to do. Now, first thing that you need to do, make sure that you do a ground verification. Make sure that you do a ground verification, whether the land truly indeed exists. This is known as ground verification. It is your right as a land buyer to confirm if the land exists. Number 2, do a search at the land registry. The most important step in the due diligence process is doing a search. For a land search, you need to secure a copy of the title deed of the land you intend to buy, a copy of the identity card, a copy of the KRA PIN of the seller. You can either do this online or proceed to land registry. Land rates. A land buyer needs to confirm with the county government whether there are any unpaid land rates on the land. You should also see the land map. The next step should to obtain a map of the land. Obtain at least 2 maps of the property from the land registry or a local surveyor. One of the maps should be drawn to scale and show the exact dimensions of the land of mutation. The next thing that you should do again, so that you don't fall victim of this, is to have a sale agreement. The buyer and seller can now get down to the business of drawing up a sale agreement. The other thing you need to do, you need to have land control board. You have to have land valuation, stamp duty, and post-purchase activity. You need to have secure transfer documents and many others, so that you cannot be put under. So we see here that for you to be safe as a land buyer in Kenya, there are things that you need to do. You first need to do a thorough investigation. You must go to the land, verify that land, and see and know that that land, does it really exist? So when you find out that that land exists, you move to land registry. You confirm this. Make sure you have legal documents, land agreement, sale agreement, and many more others, land rates. You must confirm with the county government if there are more other land maps. So you need to have land maps again. You either get it from the land registry or you get a local surveyor who will give you a map of that exact land, and many more other things, so that you can avoid getting yourself into land scams that are affecting a lot of people coming and losing their property, as we are seeing in Moko. On the same point, yesterday Raila Odinga was denied entry in the ongoing demolitions in Mavoko, which have left hundreds of homeowners counting losses. Now, the board chairman, that's Richard Mbithi, said the company had long set aside a budget for the demolitions. Yes, it is the company that's facilitating the ongoing demolitions, and we had set a budget for that exercise. The demolitions, which have been condemned by opposition leaders, started on Friday following a court ruling which said the land belongs to EAPCC. As the demolitions went on, EAPCC yesterday announced that it had also put another piece of land, which is part of the portion where the demolitions are ongoing on sale. Asked how much the budget is, the chairman said they will share the information soon. Now, Mr. Mbithi further said the court ruling, including many others. At the same time, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga condemned the government for allowing the demolition. Mr. Odinga wanted to access the demolition site, but police using water cannon trucks blocked him from going in. In a show of solidarity with the hundreds of victims, Mr. Odinga accused President William Ruto of allowing the demolitions to take place despite promising to desist such acts during the campaigns last year. Now, that's a court ruling, and we want to. Now, we are seeing Professor Kithure Kindiki giving a list of 36 suspects of Al-Shabaab. The Al-Shabaab suspects and how to be removed. Now, state names 36 wanted terror suspects. The government has released the names of 36 individuals behind the Al-Shabaab inspired terror attacks in Lamu and the Boni enclave. The group includes Kenyans, Tanzanians, Somalians, Ethiopians, a British national and Bangladesh national. They're linked to the planting of improved explosive devices on various dirt roads in the area, the killing of civilians along the Lamu-Witu gas and highway, the cold-blooded murder of civilians in Lango la Simba, Witu, Mpeketoni, Juhudi Salama, Hindi, and other areas, and the attack on the American military base in Manda. Others were involved in the attack on the KDF camp in Bauri, where the rest served as drivers, medics, and arms suppliers to the militants who carry out attacks in Kenya. Now, these are Professor Kithure Kindiki giving that a substantial cash reward is being offered to any person who provides credible information leading to the arrest of any suspect. Now, we've seen Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security, Professor Kithure Kindiki, giving a list of 36 suspects for Al-Shabaab who have been harassing Kenyans all over the country, especially the Lamu area, where they have been killing innocent civilians using different various forms. Now, the government is saying that a huge financial reward will be given to any Kenyan who will help the government to get any of the names of the 36 that they have mentioned and put it public. Will it be you who will be giving information about these ones? Now, maybe you can try your luck. There's a huge reward if you can give out information leading to the arrest of any of the suspects named about the 36. Now, we've come to the end of our morning news here at Kenya News, East African News. Come to the end of our wonderful news in Channel 7 News, East Africa, Kenya News Alert TV. I am your moderator, Emmanuel Bosire. Till we meet again, goodbye.